Hey everyone, this is D, Movieman, fellow cinephile, popcorn addict, and emerging film critic, coming to you with reliable recaps, reviews, and reactions. And I must say, it has been a good minute since my last trailer reaction. So today, I'll be reacting to the trailer for Lamb, directed by Valdimar Jóhannsson and starring Noomi Rapace. Let's get into it. Love that. Yes. Love the scenery too. I feel like something's wrong here. I think the cat knows that too.
Hún ekki vön okkur nú. Hvað þetta? Hamingjan.
I may not always love you, but long as there are stars above you, you never need to doubt it. I'll make you so sure about it. Farther! God only knows what I'd be without you.
Þið ekki barn. Þetta dýr.
Okay. I honestly have no words for what I just watched. But I will do my best and come up with something. So let me start off by saying, as soon as I saw the A24 logo, I already knew what time it was. If you're not familiar with A24, they are an entertainment company and a film distributor. And one thing I can definitely say about A24 is that they have a very unique and a very distinct lens when it comes to film. They are not mainstream by any means. I promise you, if you look up the definition of art house, you will see A21's picture right here. Okay. And so to give a little backstory, as always, A24 got their start back in 2013 with A Glimpse Inside the Mind of Charles Swan III. That was the first film that they've ever distributed, and over the past 8 years, they have had quite the run. They've distributed films like Ex Machina, Room, The Witch, Swiss Army Man, Moonlight, It Comes at Night, Hereditary, The Last Black Man in San Francisco, Lady Bird, The Disaster Artist, The Lighthouse, Waves, and Uncut Gems, among several others. And when I say several others, that's not an understatement. From 2013 all the way to now, they've produced and or distributed 105 films in total, with the most recent release being The Green Knight. They have also gotten a lot of love from the Academy. Over the years, they've racked up a total of 25 Academy Award nominations, and they've won a few as well. I mean, just take a look at 2016's Moonlight. Not only did Mahershala Ali win an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, but the film also won an award for Best Adapted Screenplay, and it also took home the ultimate prize of Best Picture. So like I said, A24, they have had an awesome run, and something that also is very significant is that many of the films that they produce and distribute are independent, lower budget films. So it's a huge contrast from all those big budget, commercial mainstream films that we see throughout the year. I can say that I have immensely enjoyed many of A24's films. And as a matter of fact, my first A24 film was 2014's Ex Machina. And that was a very visually stunning, very uniquely crafted film. It was not an entertaining film. I would say it was more of an experience. It's just like I sat down, didn't know what to expect, but by the end of it, like, I didn't really have words for it, but it really drew me in. And it was so completely unlike any of the films that I had seen recently, and even some of the ones I've seen since then. And film, of course, is a really vast medium, and you have all kinds of perspectives, all kinds of directors, all kinds of storytelling. And I think that A24 has a very specific focus, and I really appreciate that. I love how atmospheric they are, how thought-provoking they are. I love that when you watch those films, you just kind of sit and you feel like you are literally being thrust into another world, but one that feels very, very real at the same time. And in addition to Ex Machina, I have seen Moonlight, I've seen Lady Bird, The Disaster Artist, Midsummer, Waves, Uncut Gems, and I actually just caught their most recent release, The Green Knight. So I've really enjoyed watching those films, and I have to really get more into their filmography, because even when I was doing my research, I was like, 105? I had no idea. So there's a lot for me to really get into and explore. So as I previously mentioned, the main star of this film is Noomi Rapace, and I am definitely a fan of hers. My introduction to her, of course, was in the Millennium series, which is centered around the character Lisbeth Salander, which is the main character of the films The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, The Girl Who Played with Fire, and The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. So back then, I hadn't had the chance to see those films, but I remembered her face, and I definitely remembered her name. So it really wasn't until 2011's Sherlock Holmes Game of Shadows that I saw her for the first time. And then, of course, she also went on to portray Dr. Elizabeth Shaw in Prometheus, in addition to playing identical septuplets in the Netflix film What Happened to Monday. I think she is a really solid actress. I think she's a very underrated actress. I really enjoy seeing her. I enjoy her performances. I really want to see more of her. There are just certain actors and actresses where I'm just like, we need more of you. Like, you're really on point. Like, we need to see you in more films. But she definitely brings it every single time. This film doesn't look any different, and even with the premise, as kooky and kind of eccentric as it is, I can tell that she is really like bringing some energy to this. That whole part where she yelled and the sheep was just like, I was done. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what she's gonna bring here. We also have Hilmir Gudnason. He is an Icelandic actor and voice actor. And of course, this is my introduction to him, but I was pleasantly surprised to discover that he has done some voice acting for some very familiar films. So he's done the Icelandic voices for John Smith in Pocahontas, Philip in Sleeping Beauty, Phoebus in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Captain Lee Shang in Mulan, and Hopper in A Bug's Life. I was like, wow. So many classic Disney films, and I think that's really, really awesome. And although I wasn't familiar with him, I'm always excited to see new talent. You guys already know that about me, so I'm definitely excited to see what he's going to bring to this film as well. How he and Noomi Rapace are going to interact together, what their chemistry is going to be like on screen. This obviously is a very unique film, like most of A24's films. I also forgot to mention that I love, as far as the trailers, I love that whenever we see the A24 logo, it's always very specific to whatever the theme of the trailer or the film that the trailer is displaying. So in this case, we see all the sheep. And then I remember in Midsummer, it was all the flowers. And then in Ex Machina, it was like kind of a tech, computerized kind of vibe. And even in the trailer for The Green Knight, when we see the logo, it's like gold and in the style of a crown almost. I love that they do that. I know that's kind of a minuscule thing, but from an editing perspective, that is so, so cool. So every time I see their logo in the trailer, I'm like, yes. I love little quirky elements like that. It's really, really cool. I love that this takes place and is filmed in Iceland. That is a country I'm not familiar with, but those mountains. I'm really loving the scenery and the landscapes of all these countries that I really wasn't familiar with. Norway is another one. I actually mentioned that in my Hidden Gems video, so check that out if you'd like to. But Norway and now Iceland, I just love seeing films that take place in these countries and in these different cultures. And part of it is because I'm a traveler, but just even just appreciating the scenery and the beauty of the landscape, love it. So if nothing else, that is something I definitely am here for as well. And it's funny, I'm not scared of sheep or of lambs or anything like that. But I have to say, when I was watching this trailer, it gave me a little bit of PTSD because I remember the first time I saw the trailer for The Witch, and I kid you not, when that goat stood up, I was like, no, 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 I think not. And in that case, it was a goat, but still, some of the close-up shots with their eyes and them huddled together, and this obviously has a very eerie, unsettling vibe to it as well, and I'm not sure what the full story is, but clearly something is very, very wrong. So all those shots, I was like, ooh. So this is going to be quite the experience, but I mean, I'm here for it. If there's nothing else that I can say about A24, it's that the concepts for the films that they distribute or produce, it's always something interesting. It's always something different. The perspective is always something new and unique. Like, who else will make a film like this but A24, you know? But I think that's great. I don't want to see the same old, same old. I don't want to see just mainstream or commercial films. I mean, that's cool too. But, you know, I want to see stuff like this. And of course, I love the fact that it's a foreign film. I just love seeing different perspectives. I love seeing all kinds of storytelling in film. That's a big thing for me, and it's something I really appreciate. So seeing this, I can't imagine what I'm walking into, but I am absolutely excited to go and watch. Lamb will be released in theaters October 8th. As always, I'll be watching, and I will most definitely be here to give you guys my thoughts. So, once again, this is D, Movieman, signing off, and I'll see you at the movies.